Teacher Prix, how can I understand people in English? Well, watch this video and learn what you need to do. Coming up. Hey student, I am Teacher Prix and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. Make sure to subscribe. But now let's get down to business. How to understand people in English. If you're watching this video, it means you can understand me. Maybe not 100%, but you can understand me well. So what can you do to understand people? And when you say people, I imagine you mean native speakers, movies, TV shows, podcasts. That's what you want to do, right? Now, guys, there are 3 key words in this lesson, in this video, that will help you understand what you need to do to improve your listening comprehension so that you can finally understand people in English, okay? Now, the key words are connection, interaction, repetition. But wait, I will explain each word and how you're going to implement them in your listening practice so that you can understand people in English, okay? Word number 1. Let me tell you a story, okay? And this will make it easier for you to understand. I was taking a course a few weeks ago. I don't remember exactly when. And in this course, there were many different people I didn't know. And at lunch, I felt a little bit uncomfortable, to start at first. There were 5 people at the table with me. And during lunch, they were talking about a subject that I didn't like. And not just that, they were talking about a subject that I didn't know anything about. At that moment, I was not participating. I couldn't hear anything they were saying because it was not interesting. So it was really difficult for me to connect with the people. I wasn't paying attention. I really wasn't listening. Suddenly, one friend of mine changed the subject, changed the conversation, and that gradually helped me connect with the others around me. So I had one friend, and the 4 other people were people I didn't know. When my friend changed the subject to something interesting, I could connect. Have you ever felt this way? Completely disconnected from the conversation around you. It's hard, isn't it, when we feel that way, when we feel disconnected? Now, guys, what is the most important part of this story? Connection. Improving your listening will require connection. You need to connect with this practice. The first and most important action you need to take if you're here and you are serious about your English, the first and most important action you need to take is to listen to audio files, audio clips, videos, which are connected to you. That will make you interested. That will make you curious. That will make you connected with that lesson, with that information. If you disconnect from the subject that you're listening to, it'll be nearly impossible for your brain to pay attention. So that's very important in your practice, because honestly, I know that in the real world, when you're having conversation with real people, it is difficult to like every conversation and connect with every conversation you're listening to. That's why we practice. The goal here is to understand people. So you need to make changes in your practice. So the first thing you need to start with is the connection. Connect with the subject that you're listening to, and that will make your experience easier. That's the first key word. That's the first thing you need to change. Now let's take a look at the second word, interaction. And I want to go back to the story I was telling you because it's not over. Plot twist. Is there a plot twist? Let's see. Now, guys, once I connected with the new subject at the table during lunch, I was able to engage. I was able to interact with the people at the table. I could tell stories about myself and I could ask questions. And very soon, I was feeling more confident and more comfortable with the situation. I even cracked some jokes. To crack a joke is an expression to tell jokes, to crack jokes. I even cracked some jokes. So you see, connecting with the subject made it easier for me to remember stories, to tell those people around me that were connected with my life. So here, guys, interacting with the conversation became something easier for me to do because I first connected with the subject. Then the interaction became an easy job. The conversation started to flow more easily, and understanding people around me became a more relaxing thing for me to do. Guys, remember this. Connection will consequently lead to interaction. If you don't interact with what you listen, you don't improve your listening comprehension. It'll make it difficult for you to understand people in the real world because your practice doesn't involve interaction. And this will impact your ability to express yourself. In your study routine, in your practice, once you follow the first keyword, which is connection, you need to listen to something that will make you feel connected with it, okay? So once you chose something to listen, that you can connect with it, how are you going to interact if you are alone? How do I do that, Teacher Prix? Well, here are a few questions you can ask yourself every time you finish listening to that audio file or video or podcast or whatever it is that you chose to listen. For example, what are the main ideas from the audio clip or from the video, from the podcast or from the interview? You name it. What are the main ideas? How do I feel about it? You know, in my academy, we have group conversation classes with my students twice a month. And in every conversation, every group conversation class, I always make my students connect with the subject and interact. And this is a common question I ask them. How do you feel about it? What's your opinion about it? And these questions, my goal with these questions is to make the student interact with the material, connect with it, and remember stories, remember things, memories connected with their lives. So how do I feel about this audio clip? Do I agree or disagree with it? Interaction. So you can ask yourself these questions after you finish listening to a short interview or a short video clip in English, okay? Has anything, another possible way to interact with the material? Has anything similar happened to me? Oh, this is amazing. Maybe you watched a video about an accident. Unfortunately, it was an accident. And then you can ask yourself, well, has anything similar happened to me or to a family member? And then the memories will start to come, to pop up, okay? Another way to interact with the audio file. How do the ideas, maybe you're watching a video that is giving you ideas. How do the ideas from this video, from this podcast, from this interview affect my life? How can they help me in my life? Another possible question you can learn. What is the most important lesson? One lesson. What is the most important lesson I learned in this video? You can do this now. What is the most important lesson you watched in this video, you learned in this video? Let me know in the comments. You are practicing the interaction. You are connecting with me right now. You're paying attention. But now let's go to step number 2, interaction. What is the most important lesson you learned today in this video? That's interaction. That's the second keyword from this video. And finally, let's focus on something more specific. What are 3 new words I learned in this video? You are watching English lessons or videos or interviews, podcasts to practice your English. I'm sure you're going to learn something new, a new word, a new expression. So what are 3 new words you learned? Can you create 3 examples with those words? There you have it. This is interaction. This is the part, pay attention, this is the part that many students fail to do. They don't do it. They ignore this part, the most important part. Only listening to the audio file is like going for lunch with all your friends, okay? It's similar. You go to lunch with all your friends, you love your friends, you sit down at a beautiful table at your favorite restaurant, and during lunch, you stay quiet. You don't ask questions, you don't tell stories, you say nothing. That's what happens when you only listen, but you do nothing. You don't interact with the material. So we need to change that. It's like going to lunch with your best friend and you don't say anything. You don't interact. Can you imagine that? Now, guys, before I go to tip number 3, the final keyword, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel. YouTube reports show me that more than 50% of people who watch my lessons, like my videos, are not subscribed. So make sure to subscribe, because when you do that, you help the channel grow. You help me help more people, because YouTube understands that this is a nice place to be. Now, guys, let's go to number 3. The keyword number 3 is repetition. Now, guys, let me continue the story here. In the past, like, let's see, 10 years ago, it was very difficult for me to start conversations with people, with strangers, interact with people I didn't know. And a few weeks ago, in the course I attended, the course I was telling you guys about, I was able to get to know many different people, make new friends, interact, socialize. But the Priscilla from 10 years ago would not like that. If we go back to the story I was telling you, there is one important element, an invisible element, that I can only tell you now. Connection and interaction will only become easy for you to do if you follow the invisible element, which is the process of repetition. Okay? You need to repeat the process of connecting and interacting. And in the case of my story, connecting and interacting with people around me. I had to repeat that a lot, so that nowadays, every time I go to a new course, an event, or different places, I know how to interact with people. I know how to connect with people around me, because I have been repeating this process consistently for a very long time. If you remember the story, my friend changed the subject. I didn't need to do that, but I know how to do it. I know how to manage the situation and change the conversation around me so that I can connect with the story, so that I can connect with other people. Why? Because I practiced that. So nowadays it is easier for me. Now, in your case, if you want to understand people, you need to repeat the activities you do consistently. And pay attention to the 2 elements, the 2 keywords I showed you before. You need to connect with the subjects and interact with them weekly. And challenge yourself in the interaction part, which is the part the students don't do. What did I do? What did I understand? How can I implement this in my life? What is the most important lesson? Do I agree? Do I disagree? How do I feel about this? This is the part the students don't do. So connect, interact, repeat. Now, I have several videos here on my channel where I give even more listening strategies and speaking strategies, but these are definitely the 3 most important keywords if you want to better understand people in English. I hope you enjoyed this video. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!